Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm back with another fun deck that I wanted to share with everyone. This Saturday at 7 p.m. EST, there is a one-day event that Vector Sigma is putting on for the Junkion format that is commons only. Common characters, common battle cards, everything in your deck has to be a common. And in that event, you have the chance to win a Lunar Bumblebee, one of the the Chinese Lunar New Year Lunar Bumblebees, which is a card that never made it over to the States. So that's pretty exciting. And in that vein, and because we had a bunch of new players join us recently, I wanted to share what I think is a pretty solid deck to start out with in playing Junkion in the ATP3 format. So first, we've got our suite of characters. So from the official Wizards of the Coast cards, we have Sergeant Sparkstalker and Brawn. Sparkstalker is the common fire con. You don't really care about this side. He's a 4/2/10. When you flip to this mode, you can scrap an enemy armor, which is nice if you don't happen to have a bashing shield. But when you flip him to bot mode, his stats to stay the same. But when he attacks and you flip at least 3 oranges, you get to draw 2 cards, which in Junkion is a really powerful ability. The problem with him previously has just been making sure that his ability goes off. You build your deck orange, you try and get him bold, and to that vein, a stratagem came out in the ATP3 format. This is Fire and Fury. It works if you have Sergeant Sparkstalker on the battlefield, or if you have him in your starting lineup. And your deck gets to have 1 extra star for battle cards, which I'll get into later, and then each of your fire cons, this costs a star, so he's an 8 star, and then you're spending another star on this strat. When your fire cons each of your fire cons has bold 1 and tough 1. So if you have a fire con lineup, all of them get bold 1, tough 1. But in Junkion format, this star is good enough, giving him 4 bold 1 in an orange deck makes getting the 3 oranges pretty. You've got really good confidence triggering his ability to draw 2 cards. It also gives him specifically 3 more health, which is a big help in Junkion because the fire cons have generally just been kind of low health for their star cost. Next we have Brawn. Brawn doesn't really flip. He's a 3/9/2. He kind of sits in this mode, and then when he attacks an enemy with more stars than him, and you flip battle cards, he'll get Pierce 1 for each different color you flip. So we do have black, orange, and white in the deck with pretty good mix between them. So you should be able to get him to 3 Pierce 3, 5 Pierce 3, depending on your flips, with good regularity. He doesn't, again, in this side, he defends and he gets +1 defense for each color you flip. That doesn't, to me, tends not to matter. But none of the characters on this side are super flip intensive. So if you somehow find yourself in a position where you just need to buy another turn, Brawn to survive so someone else can get a swing off or something, the opportunity to flip is there. Then we have the ATP cards that we're adding to our deck list. The first one's from ATP2. It's Huffer. He is a Junkion staple at 5 stars. He's 4/9/1, and he's got Sturdy. Again, he's another card I don't flip. You can, if the opportunity arises, you can flip him, draw a card, and scrap a card just to try and fish for something if you need it that turn. He's also ranged, which is nice because we've got 2 melee characters and a ranged character, so Wedge Formation gets you the draw as long as he's still alive. His Sturdy, of course, combined with, even though he's got 1 defense, his Sturdy does help him live longer in alt mode. And lastly, we've got Seaspray. This little guy does a ton of work in the Junkion format. This side, he tends to be the one you flip first. This side doesn't matter as much. He's 4/12/0, but he gets 1 defense for each boat on your starting team. So in this particular lineup, he'll be a 4/12/1. If you flip back to this mode, again, you've got some options on who you might flip because no one's really requiring to flip every turn. If you flip back to this mode, you get to draw 2 cards, then scrap a card from your hand. Because our starting team is not all boats. So essentially, I tend not to flip Huffer because if I do have a spare flip, I'll flip Seaspray instead, just because his ability is better. But then in bot mode, like I said, he's the first flip you do in the game. He's a 3/12/2. he gets Pierce 2, and then each character with the highest number of stars on our team has +1 attack. What this means is you flip him, and now Sparkstalker is a 5 attack guy with Bold 1. When Sparkstalker dies in the match, if Seaspray is still alive, then he gets his own +1, which is nice. That ability doesn't entirely go away. But he just puts in work in the Junkion format. I was talking with Christian from Blue vs. Orange TCG, and I think his prediction is right that I think Seaspray will find his way into the vast majority of decks in this Junkion event. So that is the characters, and again, it's a pretty standard. There's no like real fancy combos or anything here. You're basically just, your order of attack tends to be flip Seaspray turn 1, swing with Brawn if you've got a nice target you want to get into, swing with Huffer if you're trying to survive, and then when you get a chance, you flip Sparkstalker, and then with Seaspray up, you're swinging Sparkstalker into a bigger target later in the game because you are 4 wide. I think Junkion tends to be 3 or 4 wide. You being on the wider end means that Sparkstalker will get his pick of targets even if you go first, and he'll be all equipped up. And we'll talk about our battle cards next. So, in terms of actions, again, this deck has a decent amount of card draw. Sparkstalker's ability to get you 2 cards, Seaspray's ability to siphon cards, Incoming Transmission is essentially Seaspray's ability again. We're just trying to make sure we're an aggressive deck. We don't want to be out of cards. We want to get the cards that we want in hand to pump our guys up. In terms of pumps, Supercharge is a Junkion staple, and it's been that way since Wave 1. We're adding to that sweet Armored Assault, and we'll see why in a little bit. This is a new ATP3 card. When one of your characters gets +2 attack until end of turn, if it has an armor on it, which in an aggro deck this has a surprising amount of armors, it also gets Bold 1 until end of turn. So again, if you play a Bashing Shield or something else on Sparkstalker, you can play the Armored Assault, and he'll have +2 attack, and now he'll swing with Bold 2, just making sure you're getting those orange pips you need. Again, Fight for Position is blue-black, and it gives you Bold 2, which is lovely. Precision Fire, I have found I get a lot of use out of. My guys tend to be split. I usually have 2 in bot mode, 2 in alt mode, but if on the right turn I can play a Precision Fire and I can hit all 3 of my opponent's guys, I'm willing to make that trade. It's great for just cleaning up that pesky guy that survives at 1 damage if you get in a case like that. Wedge Formation, again, we've got 2 melee guys, a ranged guy, and a specialist, so we get full value out of Wedge Formation when we play it early in the game. Often Brawn is the first to die, so we still get full value after he's dead because we still have 1 of each. With a green pip, that's just a staple card in Junkion. Camien Crash, again, it's a better precision fire. I'm still surprised that this was a common card. It just is such a strong action. It's one of those cards that just is going to see play in every Junkion deck. Even if you're playing blue, like it's a solid black pip, gets you the Pierce, is really, really strong. And then on the opposite end of Armored Assault, we have Blade Flurry. We are playing a lot of weapons in our deck. Your character gets +2. If it's got a weapon, it's going to get +4 until end of turn instead. And just these pumps combined with our equipment, you'll see just make sure that, we're always swinging with Bold, we're always swinging with some attack. We can clean up against other decks pretty easily in terms of taking characters out. So that's actions. Then we've got our upgrades. Flamethrower, Bold 2, just solid orange pip aggro weapon. Combat Dagger, same thing. We're building that Bold suite. Kinetic Intensifier Whip I've got here. Sometimes I tend to flip, like, let's say I'm in a position where I flipped Seaspray, I flipped Sparkstalker, maybe I flip someone else for a turn, or I might be attacking with Seaspray and I flip Seaspray back to give him 1 more attack, play the Kinetic Intensifier Whip on him first, and then flip him, giving him the +2. It's just a decent, like, it's +1, it's white pip, so it helps you crit, and then just getting in for that bold when you, like, let's say, okay, Brawn's going to defend, we'll play the Kinetic Intensifier whip, flip Brawn, and then attack or Huffer, because any of your guys can flip on any turn and you can get some value out of it. I think Kinetic Intensifier whip definitely has a place in the deck list. Sharpened Talons, we want to make sure we have weapons, and it's got a green pip. I think that's, again, another very standard Junkion pick. That is all the weapons, and then the rest of the deck is armors, which has been surprising to me. Emergency Barricade really shines in Junkion, getting +3. We don't have the pure, like, black hit for 9 with Pierce 9 decks. So +3 armor on any of your guys is important. And again, this combined with Armored Assault, you know, they've got +3 defense for the next attack they take, and Armored Assault gets them the boost. There's nothing wrong with that. Bashing Shield, another staple. Fire and Fury said that we get a star card. The star card I've picked is Bullseye Aegis. I want that Brave on someone. Usually I'm trying to direct people into Huffer or someone else. The bold one is also nice. I think, you know, this is just an obvious choice for the Junkion format. And then the last thing are more double oranges with the Improvised Shields. So again, this deck is cheap to build. I priced it out on TCG Player. If you ordered everything from TCG Player and for whatever reason you wanted to pay like separate shipping for everything, the total price is like $15. But odds are you can, if you're looking to get in the game or you're new to the game and you're trying to figure out a deck list to play, like some of the new players that I've played with recently, which has been super exciting, by the way, that despite the game not getting official support, there are still people interested. You could probably get most of these cards for free. The ATP cards are free to print and play. The deck, you could probably get it for under $10 if you were paying for anything. The most expensive card in here, I think, is like 50 cents, what I was seeing on TCG Player. So yeah, it's you know, super cheap. It's a fun deck to play, and I hope to see you guys and what you're brewing and what you're going to be playing for the Lunar Bee event. That's it for today's video. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me, and let me know in the comments below. I'd love to see what deck lists you've been brewing. You know, send me Teletran links, send me Fort Max links. I'm always curious to see what other people are playing. And I hope you have a great day. See you, everyone.